Hello Guardians, it is Ebontis, and in this video I want to explain to all of you how you get this guy, the Wicked Implement. It is a new Stasis scout rifle. Precision hits will cause targets to be slowed. Do enough of them, they'll be frozen, so it's actually going to work pretty well on champions. I know it's not going to be everybody's favorite weapon for, like, champion greatness, but I actually think it does have some potential. We'll do more testing later, but how do you get it? So, first thing is you need to get fish. Now, it's not required that technically you have the fish. Someone in your party, and I do recommend to run this as a group unless you're just a beast. One person in your body has to have caught and then turned into the aquarium. A Whispering Mothcarp, this is from the Throne World. Vexing Placoderm, this is from Nessus. And an Aeonian Alpha Beta, that is from EDZ. And what's going to happen is, from each one of those, when you turn them into the aquarium, you're going to get a broken blade of something. Like the first one was a broken blade of strife. One person in your party needs to have all three. Now, I technically haven't tested it where if one person in your party has one has another, one has another. Technically, that might work, but I wouldn't bet on it. Just make sure one person in your party has all three. Best way to do it. From there, what you're going to do is you'll, pick the fish up, you'll take them to the aquarium, you'll turn them in, you'll get the broken blades. Once you have all three, we're going to go into Deep Dive. Now, in Deep Dive, the opening section is not too bad. I'm going to show you where the statues are that you're going to interact with. But I'm really going to try and show you guys and explain basically what's going to happen when we get to the new piece of the encounter. So let's jump into Deep Dive. I'll show you what I'm talking about. I'm going to try and do the solo, which means there's no way in the world I'm probably going to beat it solo. But I do want to explain as much of it as I can. And from there with your group, hopefully you'll be able to do it. Now, the one thing we're going to tell you is the modifiers, or debuffs, I should say, rough this week. This is the week where all three destinations have improved fishing exotic catch rate. So if you're looking to at least pick up the fish, this might be a good time. Chill Touch is brutal, by the way. Being hit by melee slows you. And the final boss is a Tormentor? I can't even remember the word. And it's really rough. There's a lot of things that will mess you up. Stasis damage is rough in here. And you have no radar. So the modifiers definitely could be better. Now, I don't know if next week it's going to be like anything near you explodes or whatever it may be. There's probably other modifiers that are bad, but this one is just rough for this mission. So if you get the exotic fish this week, maybe you get to it another week, that might actually be okay. But let me go in, I'll show you what I'm talking about, and we'll get it started. Now, when you pick your buff, if it helps you get through the opening encounters, that's a good thing. But when it comes to the actual, exotic part of the mission, they don't seem to carry over. So I wouldn't worry as much about those. I thought they carried, but they don't seem to. So the first statue you have to interact with is literally on your way to the first encounter. So do your normal hit the switch, open the door kind of stuff. And then on the way down, it's like where you're going to get the very first plant / flora. I forget which one that actually is. It's right in that little area. So when you fall down in this section, you see this big yellow stuff. What you're going to do is you're going to follow this yellow stuff counterclockwise around this kind of central structure. Turn to the right under here. And when you duck, grab your bubble. And then here's the statue. Once you have all of the broken blades, this is the one from Throne World, by the way. Interact with that guy. Ziva Wrath is going to say some things. And then we're going to go do the first encounter. So let me knock out the first encounter, and I will talk to you afterwards. Okay, so once you're done with the first encounter, you've got this room here and this room out here. Before you go pick up the Egregore Coral, what you're going to do is head over here into this little raised area. You're going to interact with the second statue. Then you can actually drop down, grab your buff and everything like that, and we'll get the third one as we go down, so I'll just kind of keep heading to that one. Now your buff, I don't think carries into the boss room. Would be kind of nice if it did, but I don't think it does. We've got grenade ability recharge and kinetic weapon. Just going to go with grenades because those are typically pretty beneficial. It's just at least for me to solo this thing so I can get us there. Excuse me. And then as you fall down, this one is pretty easy to get to, so you don't really have to go really out of your way. Kind of hard to miss, actually. You just got to make sure you just don't go too fast as you're descending down the levels. So pretty straightforward. Jump down the big, giant opening here. Float your way across. Hit the switch. Don't hit the fan. And you're going to drop down like 3 levels, but not all the way to the bottom. Make sure you hit this last statue. That one comes to a drop. You're going to skip the railing there, drop down to this level, grab a bubble if you need it, and then when you see this opening, if you got this, I always have this little drop down on the side here. You're going to drop down to this second level, third level, depending on how you level them, so we'll say second. And then staying on this level, you're just going to hug this left wall. Normally you would proceed down this direction. So like all the pink down there, head to the left a little more. You're going to find the third statue right here. Now, from here, all you have to do is go do the second encounter. You have to finish the second encounter because if you don't, it's going to skip over your option to actually head to the exotic quest area. So let me go do the second encounter. Hopefully I can at least. And then I will explain more about the actual fight and kind of some tips about what you're going to be facing. Alright, Guardians, so once you finish up the second tier encounter, do not head down that doorway, and you basically don't need to pick up the buffs either, because they're going to kind of get stripped off of you when you actually get to the exotic part of the encounter. So we're going to head to the right, but we're going to head a slightly different direction. Now, if you've got party members with you, which again I do highly, highly recommend, you're going to have a statue for each. Now, as long as somebody is able to activate each of the statues, each person's going to have a statue to activate in here. So even if I activated all three of the ones during, you know, tier 1 and tier 2, and I had all the fish, then as long as each person activates one in here, you're good. But then we're going to proceed forward. You're going to have a couple of these little slow balls in here. Not that big of a deal. We're already going pretty slow in the water, but trying to make sure you get your air bubbles. Mobility lets you go a little bit faster, but it's not that big of a deal. Don't stand next to that totem too long. It will actually blow up. So then when you get out of here, first we're just going to get a chunk of enemies to deal with as we go through. As we work through, it's not the hardest section to deal with. This is just some ads. I'm just going to kind of line them up with a grenade. Wait a second for them to actually spawn. So if you're going through with a team, just kind of work together, take these guys out pretty quickly. No speed here, no timer is actually up yet, so you don't really have to rush anything here, to be honest. Just trying to work as a team and take this stuff out. Now, as we're still not under a timer, and my helpers are here with me, shout out to Wilhelm Scream. If you guys aren't subscribed to his channel, definitely check him out, and Sin, of course, very helpful. This next room is where we're going to see the Knight. And the Knight is going to have a tiny little bit of health that you can chip off first, kind of like a mechanics introduction. So don't go crazy on the ammo here, because the next room you are going to get a rally flag after, but you are going to be timed after this opening little section. So we're going to run in here. You're going to have the Knight spawn, and there's going to be 3 Minotaurs that spawn in. The Minotaurs give you a buff called Deadly Sharp. When you get up to ×3, that's when you can actually do a decent amount of damage. And you'll have about 1 minute and 15 seconds to work with that. So we're going to let them come in. He's going to be right there. I'm hitting him for like 1 damage, as you can see. So wait till you get your buff up. Start taking these guys out. And then you'll notice I got Deathly Sharp, sorry. Deathly Sharp ×2. And then when the third one goes down, we'll be up to ×3. And now when you actually hit the big Knight, you'll hit him for real damage, which you'll see his health bar go down pretty quick. Like even my SMG's hitting him for like 3,700. Okay, so once this happens, now respawning restricted is a thing. Now when you head into this room, you're gonna see, hold on, don't go in there yet, guys. So when you actually go in here, the timer is gonna start when you go underneath this little barrier. So this is when you just gotta move a little bit quicker. You're going to have a couple switches that open walls. This first little room is just a switch to open like a wall separating half the room. Second switch is under the stairs, which will let you into the bigger room with the Knight. The one switch in there opens both sides. You can wait to open those if you want to open all 3 and you think you can survive it. But if you wait to hit the switch, the 2 sides will stay closed and you can deal with the first Minotaur and then get the buff afterwards. But remember, you've only got 10 minutes to do this entire Knight section and then the big Tormentor. So, here we go. Alright, so switch in the middle of the room. Pop that one. Start clearing your ads. And again, this is why I recommend a team, because 1, if you die solo, it's just brutal, and 2, the health pools in here are just really rough. Got some well-equipped Warlock insanity going on in here, so these guys are making it look a little easy, but I promise you it's not, no matter who you're going with. Now, once you enter the room, the switch is behind that pillar over there. You don't have to hit it first. You can wait for the Knight to come in. You can wait for more of these ads to spawn. If you do hit the switch, you'll open the sides, which is going to draw more enemies in. So just be aware that when you do that, you're also going to have those guys that spawn up in the corners. And that's going to be probably one of the hardest parts to deal with, is the snipers, just to make sure you're watching out for those. All right, so we got Deathly Sharp ×3. So now that Sharp ×3 is up, now we can go ham on the boss. This is a point where if you've got ways to do damage, whether it's a well, which is always beneficial for all of you to stay alive, if you've got machine guns, if you've got divinity, whatever you've got, this guy is not the hard part. This is kind of the cakewalk of it. Now, these guys are stacked for damage, and we're melting them down pretty quick with what we need. So we've got about 8 minutes left in here, so if you want to grab any ammo, take out any ads you can, but you do have to kill every ad in here to be able to get out of this room, so be aware that that's kind of an important piece. Now, when you get up here, you do have a rally flag, so don't skip it. This will be nice and important. Now, when you get in here, it's a big labyrinth, but you've got kind of this middle strip from end to end, and you've got kind of two sides and a bit of a tunnel in between. What you're looking for is the same thing as before. You're looking for the Minotaurs, so you can do damage to those. Just know that when you get ready for the Minotaur ×3 buff, just make sure you know where the boss is, because you are going to be on a bit of a time constraint. So if you go in and you take one down, looks like, see, they're Deathly Sharp ×1 already. We're ×2, so we need to track down where the actual Minotaur is going to be. We need to kind of group up at this point. It is nice to have an arc weapon in here just because you are going to be dealing with a decent amount of arc shields. I'm going to try and get over to them. We're going to try and track it down. And depending on how long it takes you to find the guys that you're looking for... sorry. And this is why you don't do it by yourself. Just because it only takes one death and your entire run is ruined. So if you solo flawless this thing, you're pretty much kind of a beast. Now, you'll notice on screen we've got one actual target way over here on the far side. This is going to be the Minotaur that we need to get for ×3. So he's going to be over there. Head around this corner, and again, he'll probably be on this upper deck. Looks like we found him. About to hit ×4. All right, there's ×3. Sorry, not ×4, ×3. And again, now same thing. We got to track down the boss, which is usually down in the middle section. So if you're on an upper level, you probably need to find some stairs. He's going to be jumping around like crazy. Watch out for ads. And if we got a well, depending on what's going on. Okay. Beautiful. And again, the biggest thing about the Minotaur is the crit spot. If you have a super that you're going to use, it's either a well, maybe a bubble, but I don't even know if that's going to be that beneficial. But the biggest thing is a super that's got to be basically instantaneous, because he will suppress your supers. Unless I'm able to do things from like very far away, like back here, and I can cook them while they're sitting there. That might be able to do some damage, but otherwise, my super is going to get just ripped out from me, because he suppresses you almost instantly every time. But he's a rough one. And again, so even if they got divinity and we got machine guns just trying to work him down, we're about to have about 10 seconds left here. This is why something like a linear fusion rifle, if you can get that crit spot hit, it's still going to do chunks of damage. There we go. Now I'm down to back to 1 damage again. Now, when you go to look for the Minotaurs, you'll notice that the Minotaurs tend to get a little closer to the center each time. They're never quite as far away as they used to be. So the Minotaurs, especially like by the time you get around to a 3rd damage phase, you're usually pretty close to the center. So we got Deadly Sharp. Here's the second one. I got 2 of them down. And this is the cycle. So if you got a team to work with, it's very doable. So we're up to ×3, so they found the 3rd. So again, find him back in the center. And you'll notice, like, Arbalist hits for 66k if I can actually tap it. But it's so hard to hit that crit spot since he jumps around so much. That's why machine guns, Well of Radiance, is good if you've got the ability, but machine guns are going to be more forgiving with your ammo and those crits. If you're really good at the linear fusion rifle, more power to you, but you got to make sure you hit that crit spot. That's why divinity is really huge if you've got it. Now again, I'm playing with some pros here, so we're making it look a little easier than it probably should be. Biggest thing you're going to notice, actually, when you get to the end of this fight, is going to be your ammo situation. depending on how much ammo you got, depending on what's dropping, how many ads are dying, that's where things are going to be an issue. That's why the linears can be good if you can have those hits connect. But he is crazy. So whether it's a Nova Bomb, whether it's a well, either an instant super, Thunder Crash probably could have some benefit in here too. Alright, that's our damage phase. So now they're probably going to spawn right here in the middle. You'll notice. I'm trying to get my buff up over here. Trying to get me some ammo if possible. I'm going to grab the res. And again, if you die as a solo, it's just totally over. That's why it's tough. It is just a brutal fight, though. Oh, we don't have... Yep. I'm going to go super in here just to kill the Minotaurs. Ooh, got some ammo buff down. Where's he at? Where's the last one? We're on it, okay. Got some ammo. Now you got supers going nuts. And again, this is a target lock 4 times the charm. Very good machine gun to own for situations like this. But any decent machine gun. I mean, if you got 3 people with Thunderlord, you'll still probably do a pretty good job. But just always be backing away, trying to dodge those slams. Because especially with the slow right now, it's pretty brutal. Come on. He just has a lot of health. He really does. Almost there. There we go. That is a wrap, but yeah, that's the arena. Now, what you're going to do is if you find the goalpost and you see the light that's up high, that's the where you entered. You're going to go the opposite of that, and you're going to find the stairs. You're going to run up to the top and grab your weapon. Now, there are a little bit of lore collectibles that you can find in this arena. I've got that recorded, so I'm going to jump ahead to that one. But yeah, all you got to do is run up here, and you'll collect your weapon, and the lore collectibles start from here. So, claim power. Don't exactly get another weapon, I'm sure, but there you go. Piece of gear drops instead. So now let's talk about the lore. All right, quick run through, by the way, when you are done with the, mission and the crazy boss, and you want to get these words in action. So what you're going to do is destroy pyramid objects hidden beneath the deep, and here's Wrath's words. So you've got 7 pyramid objects to find. So point of reference is, if you're at the statue, the first one is going to be above the statue. If you've done any of the, Vow the Disciple, any of those type of raids, if you've ever seen them. Basically, they're like rotating darkness objects. You've probably seen them. They look like a tall, thin diamond. So one's going to be right up here. Then if you come down the stairs back into the big mission area, follow me as we go through. So first, turn to the right. Follow this walkway. Outsanity's hanging out over here. And this statue is going to be right up here. One will be up top. You keep following this path around. Slide underneath. And this is just the order I found them in, so it's probably not the most efficient, but kind of covers them all. Then we're going to come up here. You're in this under tier area section, and from the direction I came, if you look to the left-hand side over here, should it be hanging right underneath. I don't think it's one of the farther ones because I don't have the footage. I'm pretty sure it's just hanging right under there. Then, if you come over here, continue your underground area, come up the staircase. And in this box that's actually got a hole in it, you're going to find one literally dead center right in here in the middle. Work your way back around, and we're going to try and find just the dead center of this whole thing. So if you slide underneath, and then come to the middle, you're going to have the goalpost. Now, I call this a goalpost as a point of reference, but that's the best thing I can use. One is going to be sitting right between these 2 pillars, literally right here. And if you need to orientate yourself, if you turn around, the light that's high up is where you entered and dropped down into the arena. This one that looks like stairs is where the statue is over there. So, from here, if you're at the goalpost, facing towards the statue, which you can faintly see is gold over there, turn to your right. come over here and you will find a wall that has this glowing red cube on it, or rectangle, should be right up here. And then if you turn around, run back down the stairs you just came up, just kind of follow your way around this little pathway, go by that like bronze statue, go by another bronze statue, turn to your left, you've got double rectangles on the wall, should be right over here. Now, if I cut anything at any point here, it's because I got my placements wrong, but that should be the 7 total. So you had the 3 on the first loop, and then you had the 1 in the middle, and the 2 last ones should be the 6th, and the 7th one should be the first one you shot. All right, everybody, so that basically wraps up the video. Not entirely sure anything on the catalyst, have not seen anything drop today, so everybody's going to be waiting for this one to kind of give it a little bit of a boost. As for efficiency and review and stuff like that, I know we're going to have opinions and thoughts. There's a couple videos out there on it already. I need to put it through its paces to see if it's actually like going to be as good as I hope it will be. I do think it's got some potential for champions and bigger targets when you've got enemies that have more health and kind of that higher difficulty content with a little bit of range where you're trying to play safe. The slowing for overloads, the unstoppables with the freezing and shattering. If you go radiant, obviously that counts for barrier as well, but I would say more the chill clip kind of replacement with a scout rifle could be an option if you've got some decent legendaries as well. I'm going to give it a shot. If you find a group, I think it's definitely doable. Hopefully this guide helps you out. Biggest thing is just stay mobile. When you're fighting the boss, that's the biggest thing. Try not to fight him in little kind of, you know, hallways and stuff. Try and fight him in that big open area. Always be backing up away from him. You know, trying to keep your distance if he runs at you and focus your distance away, things of that nature. But yeah, so get to fishing. Somebody in your party needs to have all of the fish, or at least one of you needs to have one of each of the fish. That might work. I don't know. Haven't tested it, but have all the fish. Hit the statues on the way down. Turn to the right after you do the tier 2, and then work your way to the double boss room. Once you get that first chunk of health gone on the night, you will be on your 10-minute timer. So good luck out there, everybody. Hopefully you enjoyed the guide. If you did, drop a like below. If you're new to the channel and you enjoy the content, please hit that subscribe button, hit the alert bell. Thank you guys for bumping us over 100K, and we are still cruising, so thank you all very, very much. Have a great one. Come find me over on twitch.tv/Ebontis on Friday, especially Friday evening. We'll be doing the featured stream for the Bungie Giving Day and for Bungie Day, so come hang out over there. Look forward to seeing you guys Friday. Enjoy the guide, and have a good one.